it's Hannah. Thanks for watching. We are doing another perfume rotation video for the month of October. If you're new here, welcome. I hope you stick around. And if you're coming back, welcome back. Let's talk about some perfume. As always, I'm going to talk about the bottles that I have that I wore from my collection, and then also what I've been sampling, what I enjoyed, and maybe what didn't make the wish list. If you've been watching for a while, you know that it has kind of become a tradition to also talk about things that smell good but aren't necessarily perfume. Today, I'm going to direct your attention to Fenty Hair. This is the Rich One shampoo. It's the Moisture Repair shampoo. Yes, Fenty has come out with a line of hair products, and they are sulfate free, and I think they're all also silicone free. I have not tried everything in the collection, but I was sent this shampoo to try, and it's a nice shampoo. I would say it's too heavy for my hair because my hair is very, very fine, but it smells absolutely amazing. It smells like gardenia and coconut, so it's a little bit tropical smelling. It kind of reminds me of Hawaii even, like just that vibe. It's warm in terms of scent and rich and just so comforting, but it's still a white floral scented shampoo, and the scent does last in your hair, but it doesn't project at all. So if someone gives you a hug or is sitting right beside you, they might be able to smell your hair, but it's not like it's gonna bother you or even interfere with your perfume. If you like really nicely scented hair products, and I think everyone does, I really recommend either getting a sample of this or even going into the store and maybe putting some in your hand and smelling it just to see what you think. I think it just smells so good, and I was really taken aback by the scent of it. I wasn't expecting this hair care line to smell the way it does, and I think it's become trendy to have kind of woodsy smells or really sweet smells, but this is a tropical white floral kind of smell, and it is just heavenly. Like, it smells so, so good. So this was my latest find and the scent that I'm obsessed with, but it's not a perfume. I don't care to find it in a perfume format. I think if I had it in a perfume, I would never wear it, but I love how the shampoo smells, and I think they did a really good job picking the scent. So that's Fenty Hair shampoo. Fenty is Rihanna's line of products. They have makeup, they have skincare, there's a sunscreen in the line, and now they have hair products also. So that's that. Let's talk now about the perfumes that I wore, starting with what I pulled from my own collection of full bottles. I'll start with one that I have mentioned in my past couple of videos, and that is Atelier des Ors Rouge Serail. I wore this a lot. You might know that I sampled this in August, and I bought my bottle in September, wore it a ton in September, continued to wear it throughout October, and I think this will take me through the winter months up until next year, I'm pretty sure. This is maybe one of the best plum perfumes that I have. Or that I've smelled, that I've come across. It's so rich, it's jammy, it's delicious. It's not overly sweet, it's not a gourmand, but it does have a really yummy plum note and a warm woodsy base along with vanilla. So I've talked about Rouge Serail before, and I've posted a full review of it because I was absolutely obsessed with it when I first got it. I still love it. I'm still obsessed with it, but I just probably don't need to repeat myself too much. If you haven't smelled this, sample it. It's really, really good. Spicy plum, really jammy. I also wore, and I didn't wear this perfume as much. I probably wore this perfume a couple times, but when I wore it, it reminded me of Rouge Serail. So that is Chypre Palatin by MDCI. This is one of my favorite perfumes by one of my favorite perfumers. The perfumer behind this is Bertrand Duchefort. I have mentioned his perfumes before. I've reviewed them before. He's done a lot of my favorite scents like Chypre by Olfactive Studio. He's done Lune by Himajomo. He's done Traverse du Bosphore by L'Artisan Parfumeur. That one's discontinued. I have all of those. I love all of those. And I also love this one. This again has a very rich plum note, but a different development because this is a more traditional Chypre perfume. So it really has a ton of oak moss in the dry down, and that mossiness sticks to your skin. It's also very jammy, very concentrated, a little bit animalic because there is civet in here. Sometimes I can perceive that and sometimes I can't. And I've noticed that in general with all the scents that I wear, the ones that are more complex, sometimes I get all the complexity that's there, and then sometimes I really don't. And a couple times that I've worn Chypre Palatin, I've gotten tons of plum. The plum really does last a long time, and it is a very syrupy plum note. So it's not just something that's in the top notes, it's something that really lasts throughout the evolution of the perfume. This is a very strong perfume. It's very concentrated, even though it's only in an eau de parfum concentration. It lasts a really long time. It has decent sillage, decent projection. People can smell it. I normally only wear one spray of this, maybe two if I'm going to be out and about. But I wore this twice, and the first time I wore it, I was thinking like, this reminds me of something that I already have. And then I remembered that it reminds me of Rouge Serai by Atelier des Ors, and that's because of the plum note. So they both have plum, and I would say maybe that's where the similarities stop. They have like a jammy plum. They're both strong perfumes. They have lasting power, but Atelier des Ors Rouge Serai has a lot of spices with the plum, and those warm spices make it really nice to wear in the wintertime. Chypre Palatin, not spicy, I would say. I don't really get spices in here, but I do get a lot of plum and civet and maybe like peach, and then lots of rose in the mid, and then a really beautiful strong oak moss. But you will have to wait maybe 8, 10, 12 hours to perceive the oak moss on your skin, because all the other notes take such a long time to kind of disintegrate and disappear to leave that oak moss. So if you're looking for something that's very mossy, I would not wear Chypre Palatin to wear something that's mossy. That's something that comes so late in the wear of the perfume that you're probably going to be asleep by the time it shows up on your skin. So keep that in mind when you try this, when you smell it. I will say that Rouge Serai, if you're just looking for plum, like if your criteria is give me plum, Rouge Serai is probably more affordable because this is available at discounters. MDCI, I think, is an even smaller brand and is not at discounters. At least right now it isn't. And I haven't seen it available in the past month or so. So you will have to buy this retail, and in Canada it retails for about $300. That's kind of what you're looking to pay. But if you want a very traditional, concentrated, plummy, oak mossy perfume, then Chypre Palatin is the way to go. If you like Bertrand Duchefort and you're familiar with, and maybe you like some of the other perfumes I've mentioned, then definitely sample this and see if it works for you. I love it. I will probably always have this in my collection. So I didn't wear this a lot, but I did wear it a couple times, and I wanted to note the similarities to Rouge Serai. I get together with a group of friends regularly, and we smell some samples and we pull out things from our collection. And one of my friends pulled out this perfume, and as we sit and we chat, we spray things on paper, and then we kind of let them sit, and we go back to the paper here and there. And this is one that I didn't have on my radar. I hadn't really thought of getting it. I hadn't given it much thought. I knew it was kind of trendy, but I didn't, I usually don't like things that are trendy, so I wasn't interested in even trying it. Anyways, I kept smelling the piece of paper that had this perfume on it. And then usually towards the end of the night or the time that we're getting together, we choose things that we want to try on our skin. Sometimes we are spraying the same thing and things smell different on me than they do on other people. Sometimes you're trying something that nobody else is trying and you just want to see how it wears on your skin, and you kind of get to experience it without necessarily buying the bottle. Anyways, I couldn't get enough of this perfume. I put one spray on my wrist and then I left and I went home, and I could smell it the whole entire night after I got home, and I fell asleep still smelling it. And I was like, oh my God, this smells so good. It smells so good. I need to experience this again. So I found a bottle, and that perfume is Ylang Nosy B by Perris, Monte, Carlo. So I have not mentioned this before. I had never smelled it before. If you had asked me whether I liked Ylang in perfume, I would kind of probably shrug my shoulders. I definitely have never wanted a Ylang forward, a Soliflor Ylang perfume in my collection. That's not something that I have ever wanted. But this one blew me away, and it smells luxurious, rich. It smells special. Ylang is a yellow flower, and it's really tropical. A lot of times it's paired with other white florals, and I find that those florals kind of take over in a composition. You also might be familiar with Ylang in your favorite Chanel perfumes or Guerlain perfumes, because they usually include Ylang in whatever mix of florals they're using. So with the rose and the jasmine, there's usually a bit of Ylang. Ylang has a mintiness to it, so it's a little bit uplifting and refreshing, and that it provides that lift in a blend of florals. But this is just Ylang. I mean, I'm sure there's other florals in here too, probably white florals, but it's really mostly a Ylang perfume. It has a warmth to it that makes you think of a tropical island, which is where you would find these flowers. It has a tiny bit of a coconut note. It has vanilla in the dry down, and it just smells luxurious. It smells like, it's not even luxurious in the way that you would think that you're at a resort and you're smelling like an expensive body lotion or a body soap. This is like you own the whole island. You own the whole resort. It's not even a resort. It's your house on an island, and you own it. That's how expensive and rich this smells. And rich in the way that, yes, it smells like you have a lot of money and you can afford to have all these Ylang flowers around you, but also rich in the way that it's concentrated but has like a complexity of notes to it. You're not getting hit over the head with sweetness, with ethyl maltol, with ambroxan, none of that stuff. I mean, I'm sure there's that stuff, but that's not what you get when you smell it. You just get a lot of Ylang in the top, the mid, and the bottom. So in the top, when you first smell it, you get like a mintiness that you get with Ylang. Then you get Ylang and maybe some jasmine, and then at the bottom you get a sweeter version of Ylang because there's a little bit of vanilla, and it just smells so good. Ylang has kind of these banana-y, custardy kind of facets also, so that goes really well. Like, those are brought out and highlighted in this perfume. It's, again, not a gourmand. So when I say custard and banana and vanilla, I don't mean in a way that's gourmand. I just mean that the Ylang is able to show those aspects of its character, aside from just being minty and aside from just being part of a cocktail of other floral notes. This is just Ylang, but in a way that's not boring. It still smells really, really good. And I love wearing this in the wintertime because it makes me think of being someplace warmer. But again, not in a way where I'm wearing a perfume that's light and citrusy and refreshing. It's refreshing when I first spray it, but as it kind of dries down on your skin and warms up with your heat, you get to experience all the other aspects of it. So that is my latest obsession, and I'm gonna keep wearing it. I was not really familiar with this brand, didn't have this perfume on my wish list or anything like that. I literally bought it after trying on one spray, and I'm so happy I did. It's completely unlike anything I own, and maybe that's the thing that I like about it too, is it's different than everything I have, and I really appreciate that. It also reminds me of how much I love niche perfume, because it always gives you the most of something instead of just giving you a taste of something. And this is like the best Ylang perfume that you could ever try or that you could ever want. It's just so perfect. And I don't think that they would bring this to like a drugstore or department store. I actually think that this is too good to be in any of those places. And I think it's one of those scents that you would discover if you had a perfume guide in your life who would say, well, you need to try this. Like, you want to smell tropical, you need to smell this perfume, and this would be the perfect thing. So that's Ylang Nosy Bee, Perris, Monte Carlo. Nosy Bee, I Googled this because I was like, what is Nosy Bee? Nosy Bee is an island in Madagascar. It is the island that people go to vacation. So it's known for being hospitable to visitors, and it has resorts and stuff. And apparently, this is what it smells like. This is what the island smells like. So when I thought it smelled like a resort island, I was not far off, because that is really what I got. I got that coconut, custard, ylang, floral thing happening, and it just smells warm. It smells warm and sunny and golden, and it's perfect. So try this. It's beautiful. Perfection. Really, almost, I would say this is like a 10 out of 10 for me. 10 out of 10. I wouldn't change a thing. Comes in a 50 ml bottle. That's my bottle. Also in a 100 ml bottle. And I believe that there is now also an extrait version, although I don't know why anyone would need an extrait of this. This is the Eau de Parfum. It is very strong. So I can wear 1 or 2 sprays of it. I'm sure you could wear more sprays if you like to spray all over, but I'm guessing the extrait would be 1 spray and that is it. I don't necessarily like things that are that strong. I like to wear more than 1 spray so I can space it out. The bottom of my bottle says 75% volume. So for an Eau de Parfum, that's pretty strong. That means that 25% of this is perfume oil and 75% is perfumer's alcohol. So 25% perfume oil or perfume ingredients is quite a bit, I would say. Okay, so that's Ylang Nosy Bee. Try it, so good. The last full bottle that I pulled from my collection that I wore a lot of in the month of October is one that I mentioned in September, and I've been waiting for it to get nice and cold so that I can wear it again. And that perfume is Bon Parfumeur 303. This is a spicy, ambery perfume. This was gifted to me by the brand, and I love it. I enjoy wearing it so much. The main spices in this are cardamom and chili pepper, and you get a lot of that cardamom when you first spray it, and I love that. I love that this is such a cardamom bomb. The base of it is like a powdery benzoin, vanilla, and patchouli, so it is a nice warm amber. This one's definitely unisex. I find it to be very easy to wear, very concentrated again, and it must have a good amount of sillage because I always get compliments when I'm wearing this. So I think that means that other people can smell it just fine. Usually when I'm closer to people, they're like, oh my God, your perfume smells so good today. And that's always been because I've worn this. So I wore that a bunch, and I'll probably reach for it again in the coming months because the warmth in the base of it is just so addictive and so wearable, and I love anything that has cardamom in it. The cardamom is quite mentholated in the opening, and I like it. Instead of going in like a chai kind of direction, the cardamom stays as a spice and a singular note in and of itself, and I really appreciate that. So that is 303 by Bon Parfumeur. It is now time to talk about the things that I sampled in the month of October. So I cleaned out my desk, I cleaned out my gym bag, and gathered some samples. I'll start with the one sample that I could not locate in time for the video, and that is my decant of Amouage Sunshine Woman. My decant was given to me by a friend, so it's not something that I was looking to sample or that I had on my radar. I hadn't really read any reviews of it out in the wild while I was scrolling, but I was gifted the decant. So I did wear it a bunch of times. It's kind of a fruity perfume, fruity floral, I would say. I got some jammy, delicious kind of fruits in the opening. I got some coconut, and I don't know if I was thinking coconut because the perfume's called Sunshine, so I was thinking it should smell like beachy, maybe. I didn't know. I hadn't looked at the notes, and like I said, I hadn't even seen a description of the perfume. But when I looked at the note breakdown said almond, and I really still did not smell any almond in it. I've been sampling all kinds of almond perfumes this year, as you guys might remember. So I feel like I'm pretty familiar with the scent of almonds, but I really didn't get almond in it. I really did get more of a creamy, warm kind of coconut. Initially, my impression was that it was a kind of a boring Amouage perfume. And I say that because, not because the scent itself is boring, but to me it just seemed so mass appealing because it was fruity. And I just think that that is usually something that we find in designer releases at the drugstore. Amouage also hypes up their use of Omani incense. They have said that since forever, that that's what, inspired them to start making perfume to begin with. And I did not get any incense in Sunshine Woman, so that was a bit of a letdown. I was just expecting it, and there's no incense in there. And so I feel like if there's no incense, then it could just be any other designer release, maybe a more expensive designer release, because I think that the complexity of it, the way that it kept changing while it was on my skin, the potency of it was better than what's being released in the drugstore these days. But in my mind, it could have been a Guerlain, it could have been a Prada, not a Chanel, but it could have been something from a designer. And it is really well done. I liked wearing it. I wore it multiple days, not in a row, but I wore it multiple days to kind of see if I could fall in love with it. But I just didn't. I just wasn't, it didn't surprise me and delight me and wow me in any kind of way. I thought it was good, but I just didn't find a reason to keep reaching for it. So that was Sunshine Woman by Amouage. The next perfume sample that I kept reaching for was my decant of Guerlain Vetiver. This is a perfume that's marketed to men, and I finished my decant of it. This was nice. It was really easy to wear. It's a really fresh vetiver without being citrusy. So if that is something that you're looking for and you like the earthy, damp kind of feel that goes with vetiver, you might really enjoy this. I think it's quite unisex. I don't think that only men could wear it. If you are looking for a perfume that reminds you of a rainy, cloudy day, I think this could fit the bill, because this to me smells like damp grass, and that's kind of a beautiful thing. I wouldn't say that it's petrichor necessarily, because petrichor has something to do with stones and rocks and earth. But if you're looking for something that smells like damp grass, like something that's green and very wet because of the rain, then I like Guerlain Vetiver. Finished my decant, but I don't think that this made it on my wish list. I like the vetiver that I have, and that is Chantecaille Vetiver. I don't think I'll be done my bottle anytime soon, so did not add this to my collection, but really enjoyed it. The next perfume I wore a lot of, and that is because I had this in my gym bag and I just kept wearing it, and that is Afternoon of a Faun by Etat Libre d'Orange. This is a spicy rose perfume, and the reason I have this decant in my gym bag is because it really overtakes the room when you first spray it, and I almost don't love spraying it at home because then I become a little bit anosmic to it, but I find if I spray it at the gym, it's not as bad. It does really fill up the change room too, but I think it smells better than 90% of the other stuff that gets sprayed in there, so I don't really mind. It just smells so good. This is definitely one of my favorite rose perfumes, and I really enjoy wearing it. So I do have a full bottle of this, but I just kept wearing my decant, and after this, I'm gonna go put this back into my gym bag. The next perfume that I wore a lot of, or as much as I could, was Meo Fusciuni's L'Oblio. This is a decant that I bought because this perfume is supposed to resemble Bois d'Argent. If you look up dupes for Bois d'Argent, this is one that comes up right away. It came out after Bois d'Argent, and Bois d'Argent has been reformulated. So it was first launched in 1 year and then got reformulated. But this came after that very first iteration of Bois d'Argent came out. And it does resemble Bois d'Argent. It's pretty close, I would say. But I don't know, in the dry down, I don't feel like it stayed. I don't think the resemblance lasted all the way down to the dry down. And really, every time I've worn this, I've had this decant since sometime in September. So I started wearing it in September, wore it again in October. Every time I've worn this, I've kind of forgotten that I've worn it. And that doesn't happen to me when I'm wearing Bois d'Argent. When I wear Bois d'Argent, I can smell it for the whole day, and I think it smells so good. I just don't think that it's very strong. So I'm always looking for something that gives me Bois d'Argent, but more, like goes more in that direction. I think they need to create an extrait version of that, or like a body oil of it or something like that. Something that really just cocoons you in the scent. But L'Oblio gives me less. So I wasn't really a fan of this. I think it's close, but I just don't think it's as good. And for the amount of money that it costs, you may as well just buy Bois d'Argent. The next perfume sample that I tried was this one. This is Jo Malone Saffron. This was sent to me by someone I know, and I really love saffron in perfume, so she wanted me to see what I thought about this. This really reminds me of the scent of marigold. I don't know if that is a listed note here. It might be. Maybe that's why it's stuck in my head. I didn't love this enough to really think about it a lot when I wore it. So it didn't make an impression on me. I think that if you are looking for a saffron forward perfume, my favorite would be Gilded by Bougie because it's got that incense, and I love incense. The other saffron forward perfume that I really like is Rosendo Matteo number 4 because it's saffron and spices and vanilla, and it's just so potent and concentrated, and it smells so deliciously yummy. And this one is kind of a I don't know, it's like a little bit of a try-hard of a perfume. Like, yes, there's saffron in here, but it kind of just doesn't give you anything interesting to experience. So that's kind of not something that I'll purchase. I will keep wearing this. I like it enough to wear. I appreciate Jo Malone because it isn't very strong, and you can kind of spray heavily, and half an hour later you'll only have a wisp of scent left on you, especially with this one. But it didn't make me feel anything. I didn't connect to it, especially for a perfume that's called saffron. I think there's so many better saffron options out there that are still affordable. Rosendo Matteo number 4 is at discounters, and I think it's, last I checked, it was about $100. So that definitely won't break the bank. It should be even easier to sample and more affordable to sample. You'll pay probably the same amount of money for Jo Malone Saffron, and it's not really saffron heavy. So that's the other one that I tried. Finally, a perfume sample that, again, I did not order, I did not have on my radar, but this is really a weird and wonderful perfume, and I love it. Like, I was not, I don't know what this is. This is Lys Noir by Isabey. This little sample was kind of thrown in with other decants, and I think the person that had it was just, you know, interested in getting rid of it. She didn't care if she had it or not. Maybe, I don't know if she thought that I would like it or not. Maybe just that I would enjoy trying it. I smelled this with a group of friends, among other things, and we all just kept smelling the piece of paper that had this on it. And so I had to try it on skin. Lys Noir is a lily and patchouli perfume. I don't really feel like I'm ever looking for the scent of lilies in perfume. When I think of a lily scent, I think of Passage d'Enfer by L'Artisan Parfumeur. I didn't really like that. It's lilies and incense. I like lilies as a flower, and I like how they smell when they're in my kitchen. But again, I don't really think that I need a lily perfume in my collection. But the patchouli in this keeps it very interesting. It's very chocolatey, very dark. I think it's aptly named Lys Noir. Definitely darker than something like Borneo, 1834. Tempo by Diptyque is another patchouli perfume that I have. This is just richer and more interesting than any of those. And maybe because it's by this little brand and is really, really niche. Like, this is niche of a niche. They wanted to create a lily and patchouli perfume, and that is exactly what they did. Look at the color of the juice. It is really this dark, chocolatey, ambery kind of color. Even when I spray it on skin, I'll spray it now. I don't mind wearing this for the rest of the day. See it running down my wrist? That is Lys Noir. It is very concentrated. Probably has a high amount of naturals, and that lily kind of goes medicinal, but the patchouli underneath is what's intriguing and keeps you coming back to smell it again and again. It's really good. When I first smelled this on paper, I thought I was smelling dark chocolate. Like, I really thought this was a dark chocolate perfume. As I've worn it, I've come to appreciate the lily a little bit, but my favorite part is still the patchouli that's in it. And it's so interesting and different. And I really enjoy that. So that's Lys Noir by Isabey. I probably won't end up getting a bottle of this. I don't know if I'm ever gonna want to wear it after I finish this sample, but I'm definitely keeping my sample because I have enjoyed wearing it every time I wear it. And I almost even like spraying this on paper so I can smell the paper and not necessarily wear the perfume all the time. I think the chocolatey patchouli aspect of it just isn't really me. I like smelling it, but I don't want to smell like it all the time and all day. So I don't know if I would buy this scent, but I like it. It's different and weird, and I am very appreciative to the person that just threw this in, and I got to try it, and everybody around me got to smell it too, and we kind of found something that was interesting. It's very, very interesting, and I think those are the best scents, are ones that keep you coming back and you can't stop smelling them. Every single favorite perfume that I have in my collection has had that about it. I've had that reaction to it where I feel like I just want to keep smelling it because it smells so good to me. And ones that I don't buy, like L'Oublie. L'Oublie literally, I mean, the word l'oublier in French means to forget. And I feel like, I don't know, if you are naming your perfume after that, are you just like creating something that's forgettable? This was not my favorite, kind of forgettable. And Jo Malone Saffron, kind of forgettable. I haven't been wowed by a Jo Malone perfume in a while, to be honest. And I have had many samples of many of their latest releases. I'm gonna sound so old, but I'm gonna say that I was a fan of Jo Malone before it got bought out by Estee Lauder. And I can still remember when they would come out with 1 or 2 or 3 releases a year, because it was Jo Malone herself that was making the perfumes. And then after they got acquired, sure enough, there's 3, 4, 5 perfume releases per season, and that is just too much. They kind of went in the way of Tom Ford, you know. And then what happens like 6 months later is those perfume releases that people didn't even get a chance to try because maybe they didn't go in store are now at discounters, and you can find them for half the price. So what is the value in any of it? I don't know. That's it from me. That's what I wore this month. Thank you for watching. If you made it all the way through to the end, tell me if you've tried any of these or what you think I should try. And hopefully I will see you before the end of November. Hope that winter's treating you well if you're in a wintry area and you're surviving. And I will see you next time. Bye.